All right, so Three Ninjas Podcast, Domino, Hess, Jones, Bobby. And on this episode, on the phone right now, we got the man behind one of my favorite Instagram accounts because he combined two of my favorite fucking things, which is hip-hop and animation. So right now, we got on the phone, you got at Mylo the Cat, a.k.a. Adam Schleichhorn. Hope I said that right.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, man. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
Can't complain, man. It's Sunday. It's raining. You know, shitty outside, but you know.
Yeah, same here. Are you guys in New York?
No, we're in Connecticut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, first off, how is Mylo? Is Mylo alive?
Man, I don't know if I've ever really said this publicly, but he is not. He passed away a couple of years ago.
Oh, goddamn.
Yeah. You know, he was one of my best friends. It's actually his cat. He wasn't even my cat.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But yeah, I filmed him over the years. I got a ton of video footage and a ton of pictures of him and stuff to kind of help him live on forever, you know. But he used to be more of a character. Now it's really just like my logo.
now he just kind of lives on in infamy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
I do got some old videos starring Mylo, and a couple of them are good. A bunch of them are not good, but a couple of them are. Got
you. So I guess first thing that we want to know is that, you know, how did this whole thing come about with you combining cartoons and hip hop? Like, where did this idea come from? Like, where'd this birth from?
I always got to start back to back in the day, figure high school days, hanging out with friends, muting the TV, and then putting hip hop on in the background. That's kind of where it originated from. And I used to think my lunatic friends and I were the only ones that did that. But as I started blowing up, more and more people would hit me up yo, we used to do this shit too. We used to do this too. So I think that's where it originated from. But then, that I always go back to that first Sesame Street MOP video that was on early YouTube days. That to me, that was always just the best video out. So I kind of started making videos like that. And once I got a little better and started figuring things out, I kind of jumped to cartoons.
Okay. Now this whole fucking time, I thought you got the idea from Ghostface.
Oh, no. Yeah, no, I know. But no, that's not it.
I thought, Daytona 500. You saw Daytona 500. You're like, you know what? I can do this shit.
Yeah, you know what? But honestly, I didn't even put two and two together until way after the fact that I was like, oh, shit, I totally forgot about that video. Right. You know what I mean?
Mm. Now, when did hip-hop culture, I guess, permeate your life? At what age?
I would say...
I know you old. Because of the shit that you put on the videos. I know you probably in your early
I'd
30s.
say probably middle school. You know, I was on another podcast recently and someone was asking me the first hip hop tape that I bought. I said Nas Illmatic, and then my friend called me real quick and called me out, and he was like, dude, no fucking way. He was like, be honest, it was MC Hammer and Vanilla Ice. And I was like, oh my God, you know what? That's so true, because it was kind of hip hop crossover into pop radio when I was getting just old enough to start listening to radio. And the hip hop songs that were out were really MC Hammer, Vanilla Ice, Sir Mix-a-Lot, those were the songs I came across until when real hip hop came on to MTV in the early 90s. That's when I really started being oh, wait a minute, this is a big difference between radio hip hop and then this other kind of hip hop, which I just felt was so much better.
Got you. Now you're from Long Island, right?
Yes.
Now, how was hip hop on Long Island in those days in the early 90s?
Oh, I mean, it was the scene huge. Like I said, it was on pop radio before it even really started blowing up. So it it was just always kind of around. And I do remember that, back when I was growing up, if you didn't listen to hip hop, you were kind of weird, you know, it was one of those things that rock was still very popular. And I was a fan of both rock and hip hop. But as time went on, it was hip hop just kind of kept on getting better and rock was on its way out. And I know a lot of my friends that I grew up with, most of us were kind of hip hop is better than rock nowadays.
Definitely. I agree.
Yeah. Look, I still love a lot of early 90s rock. I think was great, but then I don't know, it started getting cheesy, and I don't know. It's almost like the 80s came back again, and it's just not my style.
Okay. Now, these videos that you post on, I guess on your Instagram and Facebook, now some of these are short, some of them are like a minute long. Now, how long do these videos take to actually like do from like, I guess, conception of idea to the post that you put on Instagram?
I mean, they're all different. Sometimes these ideas just come to me, and it's like so easy after all of these years of like, oh my God, like the idea hits me, and I'm just like, I know exactly what I need to do. I got the whole plan in my head. I just need to execute it. But then sometimes, believe me, I'm still like sitting there sometimes where I got like, if I do 4 songs a week, I got 3 ready to go. And sometimes that 4th one is just like, shit, it's just so hard to pick sometimes, you know? Sometimes I'm like, I got the song, I don't got the character. And then, you know, like sometimes it's like the song cuts a little too early and it just doesn't hit the same way. So, it all depends. But once I got everything laid out in front of me, I mean, these things used to take weeks, and now they take like a couple hours.
Okay. Now, how do you not get flagged?
Well, nowadays I'm using all like legal music. I'm doing all like Instagram Reels music. So like anyone could use that music. You get 30 seconds of it. And, it's almost like you go in there and you look it up, and almost every song you could ever imagine is available. So it's like now they're saying like, here, use this. You got 30 seconds and do whatever you could do in 30 seconds.
Okay. Now, you started this account back in 2012. Now, was this the initial thought that you had for this account where it was like, hey, I'm going to make this account and just make it like a meme page, I guess?
Like I kind of always was doing my own thing. Like, so like, I definitely was doing videos like this back then, but I was doing all sorts of different shit back then. And, but by the way, like Instagram didn't even allow video until like 2014.
When you started,
Yeah. So like I had a following on YouTube and a following on Facebook. And back then I was like, fuck Instagram. Like, I'm not going to devote time to this. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, no way. Then like Instagram became more and more popular. And I was still kind of like, nah, like I'm on my other platforms. Like I can't devote time to a new one. Like it just sounds crazy to me. And then finally it just got to the point where I'm like, yo, no one goes on Facebook anymore. YouTube's like a whole different world. Let me at least like try something on Instagram, you know, like let's see if I can bring my followers over, which never happens, by the way. You know, it's like, you got all these followers on another platform. You're like, yo, follow me on Instagram. And you check and like 30 people come over.
Yeah, not even. We tried to shit on Facebook. Nobody came over.
That's what I mean. So, like, honestly, when I started this whole Instagram run, I had 2,000 followers, and they were like 2,000 followers over the course of 4 years. So it was almost like I was putting these videos out to nobody, and that was tough to get over. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, shit. I could put this video on my Facebook page, and like thousands of people will see it instantly. But like, if I put it here, who knows? But I don't know, like early on when I started this run, I could just tell I was doing this for so long. I could tell by the comments. I could tell I was getting DMs. I like never got DM'd ever leading up to this. And then all of a sudden, like, boom, I'm getting DM'd, you know? And like, then I'm getting like hundreds of DMs. I was like trying to tell people on the outside looking in, like, yo, I think I have something here. And a bunch of people were kind of like, well, what? Like, you know, like, what do you mean? Like, you know, like they were like, I don't even understand that. I'm like, no, I'm telling you, this is a different response than I've ever gotten. And believe me, I went viral like 15 times before this. So like, I always thought like you go viral and then you go away for a few months and then you try and come up again. I never had a following like this. So that's what changed everything.
Yeah, you gotta explain your vision to somebody else and they don't get it. Like, all right, watch.
Oh my God. But it's like the story of my career, by the way. Like I'm sitting in these like marketing meetings with people who've never created anything in their life. And they're like looking at me like I got 10 heads. And they're like, what do you think about this idea? I'm like, your idea sucks, but I need to get paid. So yeah. Oh,
I guess so. Yeah,
that works. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah. Oh, well, you're a genius. You know? I'm like, okay, cool.
Now, how long have you been making videos? Because these edits, they not simple. So are you like self-taught or what?
Thank you. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I mean, I've been making videos for like, I think it's been like 17 years now. And believe me, like when I started, I was not good. I had like a little tiny touch of some sort of talent that never would have been anything if I didn't just keep grinding for all these years, like without a doubt. I was not one of these people that was just like instantly like, you know, talented, like, oh, just go and do your thing and you're going to be great. It took me so long to get good at this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because my co-host Bobby, he make memes and shit, and he self-taught. He do it on his phone. I'm like, how the fuck do you do all of this on your phone and just garner so much attention? I don't get it for the life of me, but it works.
I respect anyone doing that. Anyone like just like taking a chance and doing it, because just like we were saying before, there's so many people that are going to be like, "Yo, like, what are you doing?" You know, and it's like you almost have to like justify to them, and you know, I'm older, so like I got friends that aren't even on Instagram, so they just don't get it at all.
What?
Some of the comments that they make, I'm like, "Yo, dude, like, no, you don't understand like what's going on here. Like, you don't understand that like I'm reaching like millions of people a week. Like it's kind of like a whole different world now."
Okay, now from the time you started, I guess, until now, how many copycats have you found that have tried to copycat Mylo the Cat?
Not many. To be honest with you, like there's been plenty of people that send me their stuff and they're like, "Yo, you inspired me," and I would like never consider that a copycat. You know what I mean? Like if anything, like that adds fuel to my fire. Like because I've been doing this for so long, the fact that anyone's getting inspired off of me, I'm like, "Yo, it's huge."
And
so
then they should be trash.
I don't know. I don't know if anyone really specifically like tried to do this, because you almost have to be a lunatic to do this. Like you almost have to like just like have 15 plus years of experience and then say, I'm going to do this every single day of the week. And not that many people have it in them. You know what I mean? So like, and even if they did, it's like, it took me so long to make these things good and then make them quickly that it's like, to anyone else trying to do this, like, best of luck. You know, it's going to take a long time. It's going to take a long time.
Now, do you have a full-time job, or is this like your hobby, or is this like
no? Yeah, so like I'm a video editor. I work as a video editor as like a freelancer and stuff like that. So yeah, basically like I edit video all day, and then this is almost like my break of like editing stuff that I want to edit. You know?
Okay. Now, for doing this for 17 years, you're not tired of this shit yet, or is it like something that you
I love it, man. I without a doubt, like, am lucky enough to say, like, I chose the right path in my career. Like, I picked this is like what I was meant to do, is make videos of all sorts and just like edit video and direct and stuff like that. Like, I look back now and I'm like, yeah, no, this was without a doubt what I was supposed to do. And the alternative would have been like, I would have been on Long Island in some bullshit company, like working a marketing job and probably making like a decent living, but like being miserable, you know?
Now, what's the first video that I guess garnered the most attention or like made you go viral?
Well, I mean, I had one like as crazy as to say back in 2007 that went viral. But first one like this that really kind of blew up was actually in 2008. I did like this singing cat thing, and it's still up there to this day. It's got over 1 million views on YouTube. Like, and it kind of happened back in like the early days of YouTube when that really wasn't happening that often. So that was kind of the first one. Then I got this one that some people refer to as kind of like a cult classic that I did this stupid song that I came up with. I'm just a cat and I'm doing cat stuff. And I had like Mylo kind of just like chilling in the video the whole time. And then like he would mouth like after each line there was like a what, like a DMX style, like ad-lib what. And then like each line Mylo would mouth that what. And that kind of like blew up and was everywhere for a minute, you know, when I put it out first.
Okay. Now, when did you start seeing money from this? Or is there any money in this?
Well, I mean, I can't make money directly off this. This is more just like passion project kind of thing. But, you know, again, like I work as a video editor, and the way like people do this, the way people get jobs nowadays and stuff is like in any type of creative field. It's almost like put it out on the internet, develop a following, see what works, and then it kind of like the companies come after that. And that really has been my path. Like I think I did need to prove myself like 1 million times over just to show them like, yeah, I could do this consistently. I could do other types of edits too. I'm not just like this one trick pony kind of thing.
Right.
And, you know, then more and more, you know, when I went viral years ago, nothing ever amounted to it, but I remember like one of the first ones I heard from was Funny or Die. And back then it was like, I'm stuck on Long Island working for no name companies, and then like Funny or Die hit me up. So like that was like a huge game changer. And then after that, I kind of did get work from Adult Swim, and I worked for Adult Swim like 3 different freelance contracts, which was amazing and stuff like that. And again, like I was nowhere near their radar. If I applied to jobs at these companies that I was getting gigs from, like I wouldn't even have gotten a call back.
Right.
And I knew that because I used to apply. You know? I literally like wouldn't even get an interview. It's not even like, oh, I fucked up the interview. It's like, no, you're not even getting an interview. So that's where I was at. And I kind of like was just miserable in marketing and had to take matters in my own hands.
Basically, you put yourself out there, you did the work for free, and then the opportunities came pouring in.
Exactly.
Now, how was that Adult Swim experience?
Oh man, it was amazing. I'm trying to get back there. I'm kind of like close to hopefully maybe doing some projects with them soon. But man, Adult Swim was like the first time in my career that the guy looked at my work and was like, yeah, just take our stuff and do your thing. And I was like, oh, well, what do you mean? Like no notes or no anything? And it was just like, nah, do your thing, man. And I was like, holy shit. Yeah, I was like, really? And then honestly, that job alone is what like got me to the next level, because I forced myself every week. They were expecting like one little short video from me a week during like these little contracts that I would sign. And I was giving them 2 or 3 because I was like, yo, like this is my opportunity. This is my chance like to like really show them what I could do. So, yeah, that's what really kind of made me better, because I really had to force myself to be like, not only do I have to edit these things, I got to come up with like quality ideas that are good enough for Adult Swim every single week for the next 10 weeks. And yeah, I mean, that to me was like a dream come true. Like I'm a huge Adult Swim fan, like huge. So yeah, that to me was the best one yet.
I think if you're not an Adult Swim fan, I don't trust you.
Seriously. Yo, you guys Eric Andre show fans?
I'll watch it. It's kind of too weird for me and too out there for me.
Yeah,
like this nigga be bugging.
A little too much for me.
Did you watch the new season? I don't think I've laughed harder during the entire pandemic than I have at the first 2 episodes of the new season. I was like crying. I was laughing so hard. I mean, just because you said that,
I'm gonna check that shit out, because Eric Andre ain't never been my cup of tea. It's just too out there for me. It's like a lot of white boy humor that I don't really like get sometimes.
No, I get. Look, I'm white, so maybe that's why. I get it. But, no, I just think that dude's hysterical.
Like when the shit come on and I'm high, I might watch it. But like, I don't feel like trying to find a remote, so I fucking watch it. But you know, other than that, nah.
No, I get it.
Now, well, being that you are white and you, I guess, you deal with hip hop, have you ever been called a culture vulture?
No, honestly, I'm sure someone has. I mean, I think people know that I'm genuinely a fan, and I'm not like going and looking up songs. Like I'm going through my CD collection and picking my songs. You know what I mean? And like the whole idea of this Instagram thing was like, I'm going in and doing like the songs that I like. You know, it was like the first time that I didn't like try and like appease to other people and stuff. It was kind of just like, I'm doing the stuff that I like. I think like enough people are gonna like it and whatever. I never knew this many people had the same taste, though, to be honest with you. Like I was always the type that back in the day I would make mixtapes and stuff like that, like, but I was never a DJ or anything, you know. Like I never really knew how similar my taste would be to like so many people. It's kind of wild.
I mean, it's a lot of old niggas out there, man. and we like old hip. Now, how do you feel about hip hop today? Because you don't do a lot of edits of like today's music.
Man, I think like I always say, like, look, like no disrespect. It's like probably because I'm old, but it's just
all
not
disrespect. Fuck them.
Yeah, no. It's not for me, man. It's like the second I hear that auto tune, I'm just like, oh, like again, like another auto tune, dude. You know, like I used to love hip hop back in the day because it was like the second someone came on, everyone was so unique that it was like, oh, okay, that's this person, that's that person. It was almost the kind of thing that I remember, like, you know, like I actually like the rapper Shine, but I remember when Shine came out, everyone was like, yo, he sounds way too much like Biggie. You know what I mean? And like, that was kind of like a thing that you know, nowadays it's almost like, oh, this sounds the same. Great. Here's the check. Let's sign it. You know, but back then it really, to me, seemed like you have to be unique, not only in your voice, but also even in like your rhyme scheme too. You know, it was like a whole different game back then, I think.
Yeah, that's kind of like that Jada line. I'm the niggas right. Why you got deals the past few years, so anything like kissed and signed right here.
Yeah, look, and you know what? Like, someone like Jadakiss, like the second he comes on the record, it's like, there's no one else that could possibly be. You know what I mean? Like, that's him. Like, there's no one else that could possibly be. And again, maybe because I'm old, but sometimes these auto-tune dudes come on and I'm like, yo, this could be like 30 different
I don't know who the fuck it is. Yeah.
Like, it's not like, oh, it could be one or two. It's like, nah, this could be like 30 people right now. And like, again, I feel bad because I am old. So like, who am I to be like calling on like the new music and stuff like that? But it's just my opinion. That's all it is.
Okay, now, be it that you do have a lot of older music on your platform and Instagram is, I guess, for millennials, do you read the comments like, I don't want to hear all this old shit? Where's this little Uzi Vert? Where's all this other shit?
I read a lot of the comments, and that stuff, like, people who follow me know better, I think. No one comments that they want to hear stuff like that, really. You know, like, it's rare, but there's also times where someone will be like, hey, like, do something from this new artist, and then I don't even have to respond. Like, someone else will respond like, yo, get the fuck out of here. Like, no one wants to hear that shit, you know? And to me, that's hilarious. Because, again, I was putting out videos on the internet for 15 years, or probably like 13 years before I had any followers or a real following. So it still, like, kind of freaks me out that I'd, like, upload a video now and I hit refresh and it's got 1,000 views after like a minute. And I'm like, yo, I used to sit in front of my computer and after like a full day, I'd be like, oh my God, this hit 1,000 views. Like like those days were not that long ago. You know what I mean? Like I remember them all too well. So, yeah, it's just crazy to me. It really is.
Yo, you got to call your fans like the Alley Cats or something like that.
I like that. Yo, honestly, like, and I was talking about this with my friend, like, 2 years ago, I would, like, put out a video, and I would text some of my friends and be like, yo, could you just, like, give this a like real quick because, like, it needs to, like, get in the algorithm and shit. And, like, some of them would be like, oh, like, I'm at work, like, I can't do it now.
Bitch, what?
I'd be like, oh, man, like, come on. I'd just be like, yo, I need, like, 5 likes on this thing real quick. And that's how little of a following that I had, that it was, like, you know, I would post something and just be like, shit, if this doesn't get quick likes, like, no one's ever going to see it. And then it wouldn't, and then no one ever saw it, you know? And believe me, it was tough to keep on going.
And believe me, we got friends that be like, yo, listen to my show. They be like, all right, I'll listen. And you listen yet?
No.
Nah, but I'm going to get around to it. I got you, though.
115 episodes later.
Yo, isn't that, I found that it always, like, affects me even more when it's, like, my friends that I've known for so long that I'm like, yo, like, I put out 20-second videos. Like, you don't have time to go and check a 20-second video. Like, I see you with your face in your phone all day. You know what I mean? Like, I'm putting out, like, 1 minute and 20 seconds of content a week. Like, just go and watch it. Like, holy shit.
You know what hurts the worst? Like, if your shit go viral or something like that, and somebody you know show you, yo, look at this shit. Like, I made it. Like,
I know. I've had shit like that happen where, like, friends, like, are, like, really, like, not on my team for certain stuff. And then, like, one of their friends shares it and they'll be like, oh, like, this guy doesn't even know you and he shared it. Like, now I'm at the point that I'm like, yeah, no shit. Like, I got hundreds of thousands of followers, guys. Like, you know, like, just because I'm, like, your old friend doesn't mean, like, things haven't changed, you know? But, like, believe me, like, there's been a few times where all of a sudden, like, people hit me up that I'm like, yo, you never were, like, a supporter of my work ever. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, my friend shared it. Like, I'm like, cool. Like, at this point, I'm like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Now, do you think it's jealousy or they just don't give a fuck about what you do?
Hell yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Talk about it. Talk about it, Adam.
Yeah. Look, I love my friends and most of them aren't, but like, there's definitely some that like won't even acknowledge the fact that I have hundreds of thousands of followers now, you know, like they almost think like I'm the same dude who was making these little videos that like 10 people would see. I'm like, not like, and part of it is like, the least arrogant person in the world because I've had so much shit like in my career. Like, how could I possibly be arrogant, you know? But I think like it kind of like goes against me sometimes because I'm not the type to be like, yo, I'm an Instagram star. Yo, I got all this following and stuff like that. But there are times where I almost have to like come back and be like, no, hold on a second. Like, you guys don't understand. Like, I have hundreds of thousands of people watching these things. And like, it's not just like this little thing anymore. Like, I think some people like to think of it like, oh yeah, it's just this little internet thing because like they're not a part of it. I'm like, nah, I would like to think it's a little bit more than that right now.
Yeah, because with the following that you've garnered so far, you've had like artists hit you up and stuff like that, and they recognize your work for the edits that you've done.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Now
that was a big part of my growth too, because like the artists that share these things are the ones that like help my page grow. And then also just like seeing them give it the nod of approval, to me, that did more for my creativity than like anything I've ever done.
Now, who's the biggest artist that you've gotten recognition from?
Probably, I feel like it's definitely Snoop. Definitely Snoop. You almost can't get bigger than Snoop, you know?
Nah, that's the, what I want to say, not the greatest rapper, but the most recognizable rapper ever.
Pretty much, right? And yeah. I mean, I always like to say that, like, Snoop was cool when I was in middle school. Like, he was already cool. And now, like, all these years later, like, he's still, like, one of the coolest celebrities out there, you know? It's like kind of incredible, the career that he's had. It's really, that type of longevity is just mind-blowing to me.
Now, did you wind up doing some work for Snoop, or what happened?
Yeah, like little, you know what, like I've done like little videos and stuff. I did this like little original for Snoop kind of thing, like to pitch to him more so. But I guess I could say this now. I went to his office last time I was in LA. It was like 2 weeks before the pandemic started. And I met with his team. I got like a tour of his whole office, which is insanely cool. He's got a basketball court inside. Like the whole thing was crazy. And we were like meeting to talk about doing a music video. And then like literally 2 weeks later, this pandemic hit and kind of like changed everything, you know? So, it's still like one of these experiences that I'll never forget. And like Snoop's people were, of course, like extremely cool because, you know, Snoop would never hire anyone that wasn't, you know, and dope, like everything about it was just crazy. Like, as again, someone who's been a fan for this long, like walking into his compound, I was just like, I can't even believe that this is happening right now.
Oh, fucking Instagram video.
That's what I mean. Like, yeah, like that's the whole thing. Like 20-second videos, and like I'm like walking into Snoop's compound right now. Like it was just wild to me.
Now, what other artists have hit you up? Maybe like a lower tier, because like you said, you don't get no bigger than Snoop. So what? Who's below that?
I mean, I don't want to say like lower tier. I mean, almost like anyone that you could think of that's active on Instagram from that era. I would say I've like at least like. Maybe like commented back and forth with, if not DM'd and stuff like that. But like, there's so many, and it is wild to say, but it's like, you know, something clicks in my head when I see like that verified check. Cause again, for so long, when you put out videos and you never see a verified check in your entire career. Right. And all of a sudden you see comments from like Chic Luch comments often, and like Tech from Smith & Wesson's always been around, and Paz from De La Soul, DJ Hurricane, like those were like kind of like the early ones. And man, like those guys like did so much for my confidence. Like Pharoah Monch, you know, like all these guys. I was saying it on the last podcast I'm on, and like all these guys, like literally, like I've bought multiple albums from them, and it just, you know, it hits. Not to sound like one of these young kids, but it hits different when it's like someone that you're like genuinely a fan of. You know what I mean? That it's like, yo, like I probably purchased like 5 different Locks albums. Then here's Chic commenting on my stuff. You know what I mean?
That's
it's
crazy
wild
shit
to me.
Now, you mentioned the pandemic. Now, has the pandemic, I guess, messed with your creativity at all, or just like your mindset?
Hell yeah, it has. Hell yeah.
What's
like
up?
early on, I feel like it messed with it a lot. And then like I'm going through ups and downs where I feel like sometimes I get through it. Sometimes I'm just like, whatever, you know, it is what it is. I'm stuck at home. But man, like there's other times where it's just not the same as like being able to go out and do whatever you got to do and then like let your mind get free. It's like a little bit too much isolation at points. And it's tough. So like I feel for anyone trying to be creative during these times because I usually thrive off positivity and like there's not much positive shit going on right now.
That's all. Because we just rolled back to phase 2 here in Connecticut. Well, some places in Connecticut have rolled back to phase 2. So, you know, it's getting crazier as I guess the weather gets colder because a lot of motherfuckers don't give a fuck about the pandemic. They just still going out acting like it's not happening. Then
look, man, I'm scared of this stuff. I'm scared. I know this isn't a political show, but like, man, like the president really fucked this up so horribly that it's
please
like,
go out and vote. Please.
Yeah.
Everybody, like when the datas come out, we should have it. Wait, the election's Tuesday, right?
Anytime I get political on my page, it's like overwhelming majority is on the right side, which would be the left side, you know, the left side, I should say. But then like, I don't know if these people are following me or what, but like early in the pandemic, I did a couple anti-Trump things and God, there were like a lot of people commenting like, but it almost like came in a wave. It was almost like someone shared it and was like, comment on this real quick, comment Trump 2020. And no joke, like I got nervous at first because it was like this wave of like Trump commenters. And even like my sister like texted me and she's like, who did you know you had these Trump followers following you? I was like, no. I'm like, yo, this can't be right. And then like it really felt like it was like a planned, coordinated thing. Because then all of a sudden, like the majority took over, and it was like, no, like fuck Trump. And then like anyone who was commenting was like getting like 10 people coming after them and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, like that at least felt a little normal. But during those times, like. The first time I did it, I think I lost 2,000 followers. And the second time I did it, I think I lost like 1,500. And I publicly like put out these statements like, peace, guys. Like, I don't want you here. Like, yo, like I kind of put out a statement like, yo, I got so many more followers than I ever imagined I would ever have. So you Trump people following me like mean absolutely nothing to me. And like I like made it real clear. I was like, yo, like I don't give a fuck about your opinions. I don't care. Like I don't want to see it on my page. It's like making me anxious see it on my page. So I'm like, yo, unfollow me then. Go ahead.
Don't you hate when they announce that shit to you?
It's like, and that's always the funniest thing. Like, oh, this page used to be good. Like,
I used to be good. Still good, bitch.
Anytime I respond, it like goes to the top of the like comment list, and then like everyone sees it. So anytime I respond with like anytime someone puts that, I love like writing like "beat it, ball bag," you know, and then like 1 million people click thumbs up on it, and without fail, like these guys always end up deleting their comment. Like they always end up deleting. It's like they won all the action until they get it, and then they're like, "Okay, I better delete this comment."
This shit's too much. That shit is weird. Because why the fuck would they come to your page? Like, how you like Sean Price and like Mike Pence? Like, I don't get it.
That's what I can't even wrap my head around it, man. I can't. And also, like, you know, look, I'm a New Yorker. Like, New York is a very blue state, so like even that should be like enough to let everyone know. Like, yo, what do you guys think? And also, by the way, I'm a Jew from New York, so like there's no way I would ever vote for Trump. You know, like not in a million fucking years.
I don't know, man. It's fucking crazy. But please go out there and vote. By the time this comes out, we should have a new president. Hopefully you motherfuckers voted.
Hopefully we have a new president.
I mean, yeah, hopefully you know they don't go and still.
I know. Oh my god.
You're a reigning champion.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, you know, he's like a wrestler. Oh my god.
Now, I want to ask, what are your favorite songs that you can't for the life of you find and edit for? Like, you just can't find a fucking cartoon that syncs up with that bitch.
Oh, I know I got some because like there's some that I've had just like on my list for like a year that I revisit all the time. I forgot which one. You know, I've done like I think 3 Eric B and Rakim songs, and whatever the 4th one was that was on my list, I listened to it every single week, and I'm like, okay, like I got like this is like not even like crazy descriptive. Like I got to be able to find a cartoon for it, and I just can't. And I like anytime I try and like do like a half-ass combination, the video never does well. So I love putting out stuff that like people comment like, yo, this is in the top 5, and like especially when like in my mind, I'm like, oh, I didn't even think of this as like a top 5 one, you know? Like, my dream is to like be able to put out something of that level every single time. Like, I don't want any filler.
Now, are you doing this solely on your own? Like, no one give you suggestions, ideas? It's just you, your thought process, your CDs or whatever the fuck?
No, 100% me. 100% me. People do come around and they try and say like, "Oh, yo, do this song." I'm like, "Yeah, I did that one 2 years ago." You know? Right. Like, yeah, like it's all good. I do welcome suggestions though, because if anything, sometimes they'll like spark up another idea, or I keep a long running list, and then sometimes it'll make me go back to the list and be like, "Oh, wait a minute! Like I forgot I had this one on there." And you know, I'm adding songs every week, so sometimes I get to like the bottom or the middle of that list, and I'm just like, "Oh shit! Like I forgot to do this song." Like, you know, and some of these are like early on when I started doing this and was doing it so frequently that people were like, "Yo, like, don't you think you're gonna run out of songs soon?" And I'm like, you clearly don't know 90s hip hop, because I could do this every day for years and not run out of songs. And I'm talking like good songs, you know, like I wouldn't even have to do half-ass songs. Like there's so many. It's crazy. Once you really start going through albums too, like some of these albums have 11 good songs on them, you know, and it's like I've done 4 of them so far. So I'm like, nah, I got more than enough songs, believe me.
I want to. This came to my mind. I don't know why, but I want to see like I don't know if it can be done, but like Nas and Lauryn Hill with Pinky and the Brain. If I Ruled the World, like if I can see that somehow, some way, man, that should be dope.
Yeah, well, that one has been on the list forever. I don't know. That's another one. Like of course that song's on the list, and for some reason I just haven't gotten the right combination. I'll look at Pinky and the Brain though, see if I can find some good scenes.
Now, what are your favorite cartoons growing up?
Like when I was young, definitely like Thundercats and He-Man and Transformers, like when I was young. Then like when I got like more to like around like that middle school age is kind of like when The Simpsons came out, and probably a little bit before middle school, but those early Simpsons, like the first 10 seasons of The Simpsons to me is like, animated or not, like some of the best television in the history of TV. Gold. So that always, like, I always think back to that. Like, my comedic sensibilities, I really believe, are from there. And I do also look at that, like, in terms of comedy writing, like, nothing beats that, you know? Like, it was really just, like, so incredible during that time period. So that's always the one that I think of. And then nowadays, like, I got to give it to South Park. Like, I think, like, man, South Park has been on for so long, and it's still so good, and it's just like so funny in so many ways, and like they just give no fucks, you know. Like I love it. I don't know, like everything about it is like just when you think you have them pegged to, like they kind of like flip it up on you, and like, you know, like those dudes like surprisingly like kind of used to be like leaning right, you know, and now like they made it clear that they're like, yo, like,
they don't give a fuck about nobody, nothing.
Yeah, fuck this. And you know, it's also like I do respect like people that could change their opinion and stuff like that. Like that's part of like growing as a person, you know.
And in today's culture, I'm surprised they haven't got canceled, because they make fun of Jews, Christians, blacks, Asians, gay, straight, whatever the fuck, transgenders. They make fun of everybody.
Look, I got a pretty thick skin, but there's times where I watch it and I'm just like, oh my god! Like no one else in the world could say this joke right
like
now.
When they made fucking Kyle a superhero, and his name was like the Human Kite or some shit.
Oh my god! Yeah.
I was like, yo, how do Jewish people feel about that?
I mean, it's crazy. Like to me, like I know that's coming from a place of humor, so I don't take offense to that at all. You know, like to me, like the shit that I take offense to is the fact that like we got like real life humans like rolling around with Nazi flags, you know? And like my grandma literally escaped Nazi Germany, and it was like, you know, my grandma, it's like not that long ago, and like these guys are like rolling around with Nazi flags now, and it's like that shit's just like disgusting to me, you know? Like it's kind of crazy too. And like I don't know. I just think like the bullshit that he's inciting in terms of like white supremacy and shit is just mind blowing. And the fact that it's 2020 and we're going through it again.
Please go vote.
I know.
Vote, motherfuckers. Please.
Like, I already
local
voted.
elections, all that shit.
I was not messing around. Like I was like I'm voting early. I'm like dropping it off at the Dropbox, not mailing it. Like, there's no messing around on my end. Like, I'm like, yeah, I'm getting out and voting.
Mm-hmm. Now, have any rappers come to you because you haven't used their songs yet in edits?
Oh, yeah. And I'm not going to call out any names, but like a lot of the times it's just like, again, I got such a long running list and these guys like hit me up like, yo, like, love your page, man. Like, would love to get you to do one for me. And I'm like, yo,
I'm pretty sure Pete Rock hit you up or something.
Like, I already got you on the list, you know? I'm like, I already got you on the list and it's no problem. You know, to me, I'm like they want to see this video. That just adds fuel to my fire even more. I'm just like, let's go. Like, oh, okay, you want me to make this for you? Like, that's all I need to hear.
Right. Now, do the lyrics inspire the cartoon that you use, or do the cartoons inspire the song?
I always go music first. Like that's like, to me, everything's based around the music. Like that's just, honestly, that's how I edit in my job too. That's how I edit, period. That's how I've always edited. Even if it's like a stock music song, like I build around the song, and I just think that makes for a better video, you know? Like, because again, like I could easily just like line up any cartoon to any rap song and it'll be somewhat cool, but it doesn't get to be next level until like you really go for it and like you really like hit that right combination.
Mm-hmm. Now, what edit have you done that you look back and said, damn, I kind of outdid myself on that one?
I do love I did this Homer Simpson and Marge Simpson as LL Cool J doing it. I love that one because it was like a great back and forth. I don't know. I just love that one. There's definitely a few more that stand out, but there are times where I'm like, yeah, I think this video might do kind of well, and then it's a huge hit, and then I'm like, oh, like there are plenty of times where I'm like, this one, after all my experience, I know this is going to be a hit, and then I upload it, and I could like tell within 2 minutes, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, this is definitely not a hit. You know what I mean? Like, so sometimes that's like one of the toughest things, that sometimes I feel like I'm sitting on gold and I put it out there and nothing happens. I'm like, fuck. And then there's other times where I put something out and I kind of like put my phone aside and then I like check it after a couple minutes and it's got 100 comments already. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, like it's like pretty unexpected sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Now, you had a write-up in Time magazine one time, right?
Yes. Yeah, that was huge.
How was that? Like, you got a fucking Instagram account, you make videos. How'd you get in Time magazine?
I love that you're saying it like that, because that honestly is like my reaction to it. That I'm like, yo, like this got me in Time. Like, it was after my grandfather passed away, but my grandfather was like such a big fan of Time. Like, I never knew, like, only thing I knew of Time magazine was like my very smart grandfather was a huge fan, and he had like pictures, like he had like Time covers laid up, like all laced around his whole office, like on the wall and stuff like that. So that's why, like, to me, like it means so much because it's a huge publication and it's like, you know, almost like top of the tops, if not top of the tops. But that extra connection to my grandfather, like, I don't know, like it does just make me like reflect and be like, God, if he was still around and saw that I got a write up in Time, like he would have absolutely flipped out, you know, like he would have absolutely flipped out. So that's why that one has extra meaning to me for sure.
That's dope, man. That's really fucking dope.
Thanks, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Fucking Time magazine, like, you don't get no higher than like Time magazine. What other magazines? Because like fucking print is still, I mean, it's not that lucrative now. Everything's online, but to get written up in Time.
To me, it's like if you were like, oh, name like a magazine like more historic than Time. It's like, well, there's none. Like that's it. Like there's none. Yeah.
King magazine, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, look, in my world, like as a kid especially, like I would say, oh, Sports Illustrated. You know, but obviously that's not the case.
Yeah, I only read the swimsuit edition, that's it. It's the only one I go to. Now, you mentioned that you work for Adult Swim, and I forgot the other company that you mentioned that you work for. It was Funny or Die.
Funny or Die reached out.
Now, have you gotten any other professional gigs from this?
Yeah. A whole bunch, you know, like, basically, like, I did, like, a whole bunch of original animations for record labels recently because of this, and, I don't know if you've seen the originals on my page, but those are kind of, like, all coming from this, and, partnering up with, like, an animation studio, and where you know, getting them done. And the beauty of that is like I'm conceptualizing them and directing them, and then I don't have to edit them. It's kind of like finally, after all these years, taking the next step in my career that I feel like I know I'm ready for, you know, like I've conceptualized so many videos that have reached over 100,000 views that I don't know how many people that really have done that. So I kind of feel like that's where I would love for my career to really go next.
Okay, so you have the Instagram page, you have the Facebook page, you also have a YouTube page. Now, what's the indie artist showcase that you do?
Oh, that kind of started as two things, like really like a way to help out indie artists, because so many of these guys hit me up and they were like asking for videos and stuff. And the way the Instagram algorithm is, like, if I do one video that doesn't reach a lot of people, it's like I got to dig myself out of a hole for the entire week. And that's always in the back of my mind. Otherwise, I would do like indie artists all the time, but that's always in the back of my mind. So I'm talking like if I do an unknown or like a lesser known song from a known artist and it won't reach a lot of people. So if I do an indie artist, like nobody really clicks like on it and then it gets buried. So this was my way of helping them, and then staying busy in the pandemic. And really, I just was like, let's see what would happen if I said, send me your shit. All types of artists are welcome, not just like music people. And let's see, I'll try and put together a show. And I was like running it on Instagram Live and also posting it on YouTube, but the YouTube is just such better quality. So I think like this next one that I'm doing, I'm only posting it to YouTube, and then whoever sees it, and it is what it is. But it's kind of like one of these things that, you know, I'm so used to getting 100,000 views now that I see like the latest episode of this on YouTube has like 800 views, you know, and I'm like, holy fuck. Like I spent so much time putting it together, but I do know like anyone who's actually like sat down and watched the whole hour is like, yo, this is like some whole other shit and like just something different and something fun and whatever. So I'm going to keep on doing it for the time being, and we'll see what comes of it, you know?
Okay. Now, do you ever plan on leaving like the moniker Mylo the Cat and like going out as Adam so they know you instead of like the Instagram page?
No, I always thought that was like from early internet days. People on YouTube were like blown up because they were like, hi, I'm such and such. And they were like talking to the camera. Yeah. And I was always like, yo, that is not me. You know? And like, I used to go to YouTube meetings back in the day at the YouTube offices. And they'd be like, hey, why don't you start doing vlogs? I'm just like, what? I'm like, yo, that's not what I do though. And they're like, oh, but everyone who's doing it's getting so popular and stuff. I'm like, yo, I don't want to be popular that way though. Like, that's just like fake, you know? And like, I don't know. I really feel like I always felt it was so much cooler to be somewhat anonymous and not be like, hey, I'm Adam. I'm a video editor, you know? And that it seems like that has like finally coming back in my favor recently, because I feel like a lot of people are on the same page now. They don't want someone like introducing themselves before every video now, you know? Like it's just, I never got that. I don't know.
Now, how deeply do you want to be involved in music? Like, do you plan on maybe starting like a label, getting some artists yourself, maybe directing some videos? Like what?
I mean, I would love to do more like directing and stuff like that. Like when it comes to starting a label, I don't think I got enough business sense to do it. I think like if someone were to partner with me that kind of were able to handle that end, like I'd be all for it. But I wouldn't even really know where to begin with that. One thing I do know is like on this indie show I've done like 7 or 8 episodes, and there's some people that you could tell like they got one good song or whatever, and then it's like you hear their next submission and they're like, all right, this isn't as good. But there's some people that, no joke, like have catalogs that are just like, yo, every song this guy or girl submits is good, like every single song. And then once I started getting to like, you know, 6, 7, 8 episodes, I'm like, yo, like this is like a real fucking artist here that no one knows about. And I'm like trying all these little ways, like however I can, to try and like get people to check them out, because I just know like some of these artists are like seriously good. And man, I'm telling you, like some of them put out multiple albums and stuff, and you kind of like go through their stuff. It's like this guy is legitimately good. You know, it's not like some dude recording something in his room and he got lucky once. You know what I mean? Like this is like someone with real talent. So to me, like, I would love to just be able to help out whoever I can. Basically, because no one really fucking ever helped me. So until my favorite artist started helping me, and which is crazy to say, like, no one really did shit for me until, like, all of a sudden my favorite artists that I grew up loving started sharing my work. So I'll never forget that.
They don't love you until everybody love you, man. That's how it goes.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing. Like, once they were saying I'm cool, then all of a sudden, like, oh, everyone, oh, this is so cool.
Adam.
Like, also, people used to, like, literally, like, come up to me and be like, yo, like, what's up with this whole cat thing? And I would be like, what? Like, I'd be like, yo, it's not a cat page. I'd have to, like, explain it and this and that. And no joke, like, after I started blowing up on Instagram, people would come up to me and they'd be like, yo, like, this cat thing, it's brilliant. I'd be sitting there like, fuck you, like, brilliant. Like, no one ever said it was brilliant before, like.
Like, I think they got that. Well, maybe, like, after that documentary that was on Netflix, you know, what was the shit about the cats? The dude that killed the cat? Hello? Is he there?
Oh, yeah, I didn't even see that. Yeah, you know, yeah, someone told me about that. I didn't even watch that one.
Oh, you didn't watch it? Mylo the cat gotta watch the fucking cat documentary, man.
Yo, that's kind of the thing, though. I'm not a cat guy. Like,
I know, right?
Some cat people would, like, reach out and they'd be like, how long have you had Mylo before? And I'd be like, oh, it's actually my friend's cat. They'd be like, what? Like, it's not even your cat? I'm like, nah. I'm like, it's not my cat.
Mylo in heaven right now. Look at this motherfucker getting clout off my name. This is bullshit. Now, my last question is, right, so now, hip-hop or cartoons? One gotta go. One does not exist.
Oh, man, I can't answer that. I don't know.
One gotta go.
I don't know. Can't we just get rid of, like, country music or something?
I mean, I guess we can do that. So,
yo, let me ask you this. You guys are in Connecticut. Like, I grew up my whole life in New York. No one ever even mentioned country music. No one ever even, there wasn't a radio station. There was nothing. And then within, like, the last 5-10 years, all of a sudden, like, some people are country fans, and there's, like, a country radio station and shit, too. Is that happening in Connecticut, too?
We more so get stuff. Well, country, I was introduced maybe, like, you know, early 90s or so, because, you know, my family from down south, so they from the country, so they know a lot of these, you know, the BB Kings and stuff like that. So if you want to get, like, blues and, like, country like that, a couple white artists have, you know, caught my ear over the past few years, but it's all like the same sad shit. Like, my girl broke up with me, I'm getting drunk, my dog died, all that shit.
I know. It's very formulaic. It really is.
Yeah, but in like the past 5-10 years, I don't say that there's like an increase. I mean, like, the internet has made the world so small, so we just get everything. So if it's popular, we'll hear it. But, you know, it's not really like a influx. I mean, Connecticut, we still trying to find ourselves as like a music scene. Like, we have a hip-hop scene, but it's just we're still trying to carve a niche some way, somehow.
Yeah, where is the hip-hop scene, by the way? Like, Hartford?
It's a couple people in Hartford. You got Bridgeport, you got Hartford, you got New Haven. That seems to be where the I guess, like, the real hip-hop is really at. I'm gonna send you some artists, and, you know, I want you to check out their stuff. They're really, really good.
Yeah, please. Yeah, look, I mean, back, like, in the 90s, it was, like, very much, like, either you're from New York or Cali, and then all of a sudden, like, people from the South started popping up, like, which they were already there, but we kind of started hearing them. And, yeah, you kind of, like, never really heard about other states that weren't, like, you know, the main, like, states, you know? Yeah,
the only reason people know us in Connecticut is because of Chris Webby. That's it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's sure. Really it. And we were like, yo, that's the motherfucker you know us for. We got so many dope artists here, and that's the motherfucker you pick. I mean, I get it, but cool. All right.
That's the way it goes, yeah.
It goes like that all the time, man. But, you know, Adam, appreciate you for having this conversation with us, man.
No problem. Very thorough interview, I gotta say.
I appreciate that, man. Now, where can everybody find you if they're not following you already because they dumbasses?
Yeah, just, you know, look up Mylo the Cat, Mylo the Cat, and you'll find me on any platform. You know, I got stuff. My main thing's Instagram, then I would go YouTube, then Facebook, and then, like, I got a page on Twitter, but I really don't do any tweeting.
Okay. All right, man. So, you know, that's Adam, a.k.a. Mylo the Cat. Like I said, appreciate the convo, man.
No, I appreciate you having me on. And by the way, send whenever this goes live, just send it to me, and I'll get it shared to my stories, and then I'll tweet it and all that shit.
Hey, man, appreciate that, man.
No problem at all.
All right, man. So we'll talk to you.
All right, sounds good, guys.
All right, man. Peace.
All right, later.